Hello everyone and welcome to this video. I'm Inxlaura123 and this is my September wrap up. I'm going to be telling you what books I read in the month of September. So I've got my notes here because I've got a really bad memory. I knew I would forget stuff, so I did write some notes down that I'm going to be reading from. And also, once I've stopped rambling, I'll put pictures up of all the books that I mention in this video. Okay, so let's get started at the very beginning of September. The first book I read was Drink, Slay, Love by Sarah Beth Durst. So I started off really loving this book, and then I kind of just got a bit bored with it, got a bit too silly, and at the end I was just kind of skimming through, just like to get to the end of the book, which is never a good thing, is it really? So it's about a vampire, 16-year-old vampire called Pearl, and she gets attacked by a unicorn, which is just totally weird in itself. So there's a big feast which has been arranged by the Vampire King of New England, and Pearl has to basically lure her school friends to this big feast party to be eaten, basically. But the more she's at school and hangs around with these people, she develops, you know, romance and friendships, and also a bit of a conscience, you know. She starts to feel a bit guilty. She doesn't want them to get eaten. So yeah, I mean, this book, as I say, it was good. It was silly, it was okay, and at the end I kind of just skimmed it to get to the end of the book. But yeah, I gave this book a 2.5 out of 5. But there were parts in it where I literally was laughing out loud. Like, there were some really funny bits in it, and I would sit and read it and I was like, so it was funny, but just a bit too silly. Okay, next up, the next book I read in September was Zero Day by Jan Gangsey. I think that's how you say her name. So I absolutely loved this book. Like, literally, I loved it. It was the first book that I've read with a kind of political theme, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not. I'd seen another booktuber talk about it, and I was like, sounds pretty cool. So I got it, and I loved it so much. So yeah, I've put love this book. Politics, friendship, full of twists. Whoa, there were like so many twists in this book. And I will say, I do love a good twist in a book. It's very well wrote. I enjoyed it so much. It's about a character called Addie. She was a victim of a kidnapping many years ago, and her father is the president of the United States. And then basically years later she resurfaces, but is there more to her than meets the eye? So this book involves like hacking and murder and friendship and just like everything really, politics, and I don't know, I just love this book so much. It was really good. And I wrote to the author on Twitter and I was like, I love the book so much. I love the characters. It ended on a kind of, you know, it could be another book. And I asked her if she was going to write number 2, and she said, not at the moment, but possibly in the future. So that's really cool, and I really hope she does. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. Zero Day was amazing. So the next book I read in September was Wonder by R.J. Placio. Playco, I don't know how to say it. So this is like a book that everyone talks about on YouTube. I've seen so many people, like booktubers, mention the book Wonder. So I thought I would check it out, and I got it out from the library, and I've put, it was so sweet. It was such a sweet book, really touching, thought-provoking, and basically it's the story of August, who, by the way, is just like such a cute, adorable character. And he's born with a facial deformity, and he has to start school for the first time because he's always kind of been at home schooled, and now he's starting school. So he has to deal with like being the new kid and friendships and bullying. And there's just parts in this book where I really felt like so sad. Like, literally, I actually had some tears in my eyes because it was really emotional and touching and upsetting. And I just, you know, I was bullied at school, so it kind of brought memories back to me a bit. But I don't know, like, it was very touching, but then at the same point it was very uplifting and positive and thought-provoking, and yeah, it was really sweet. Bit of an emotional roller coaster, I will say, but I really enjoyed it, and I can get why everyone kind of raves about it because it was really good. And it is for, I think, people of any age can read. I know it's kind of aimed at kind of children and teenagers, but I'm 38 years old and I really enjoyed it. So I gave the book a 3 out of 5. Next up, I got Sam Bourne's To Kill the President, and that book took me absolutely ages to read. I don't know why. There was a few books this September month that took me a while to read because I'm quite a fast reader, but for some reason some of these books took longer than I would normally read a book. So basically I got this book to kill the president because of all the hype that was surrounding it, and also every time I went into bookshops or supermarkets, in the book section, I would just see it and I was like, not so sure. But because I'd read Zero Day, the whole political thing, and I love that, it kind of got me in the mood to possibly, read another kind of political based story. So I thought, yeah, I'll give in to the hype, and I got it. So Maggie Costello uncovers an assassination plot to kill the new president of America, but she's torn on what to do about it as she hates him, basically. There's also a war of words with North Korea going on, and I've put, to be fair, this book weren't that good. It wasn't that good. I don't get all the hype. I found it quite cringe. I did cringe quite a lot of the book. I was like, oh, this is quite uncomfortable, cringe. Basically, the author was obviously like an anti-Trump person, okay? And I know people with Donald Trump, they either like him, they hate him, whatever. But I think even if you were a Trump hater, you'd get sick of reading constant, like, literally it was on like every other page, like this little digs, and like it was just like, it's just too much. Even though he said it's not about Donald Trump, it was clearly this person who's wrote this book hates Donald Trump, and like every page was, basically hating. So every page was anti-Trump. It was filled with it. And also some of the facts were quite wrong as well. Like in the book they said, there's no women in the White House, but in real life there's actually a lot of women now who Donald Trump has put in, who are in, very high positions. So I don't know, look, as I say, whether you like Donald Trump or not, it was just a bit too much, like constant, and I just didn't feel comfortable reading it. I thought it was quite cheesy and cringy, and it was a bit so I didn't really get it. I mean, there were a few twists. I liked some of the twists in it, and I think Maggie as a character was kind of okay, but a bit wishy-washy, and I don't know, it was okay, but not great. So I'll give it only a 2 out of 5. Next up, I got Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. So I absolutely loved the book We Were Liars. Loved it. It was amazing. The twist at the end, if you know what I'm talking about, wow. Didn't see it coming. It was great. So I had good, high expectations for Genuine Fraud. I love the cover of it. I was like, oh, looks good. So I put it was good, but I did struggle with it a bit. Lots of twists, which is good. But the whole story is kind of told backwards, which I don't know why, it just confuses me a little bit. So yeah, it's a psychological crime. The main character keeps kind of reinventing herself. It's a girl who refuses to be the person she once was. And I don't know, I just kind of didn't like the main character. I just didn't really care what happened to her because I didn't particularly like her. Didn't really work her out, didn't understand her. I don't know, I just didn't, compared to We Were Liars, it was just not as good. It was okay, I wouldn't say it was awful, and I did read it and didn't skim any of it or anything, but it wasn't great, really, compared to our other book that I read. So I gave that a 3 out of 5. Next up in September, I read a book that has also been massively hyped, and that was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. First of all, the cover is so sweet. I love the cover of it, the colouring, and I do like a nice book cover. So I was drawn into the cover and drawn in to buy it because, well, everyone kept going on about how wonderful it was. But to be honest, I just didn't get all the hype. I'm sorry, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. It was just okay. It was a bit weird. Basically, this thing called Death Cast tells you when you're going to die. It tells you the date you're going to die, which I just think's weird. But, I mean, if they would have explained it more, I could have got it. But throughout the book, and I kept waiting and waiting, they didn't explain what Death Cast was, and that kind of infuriated me. So basically these two characters, these two guys, Mateo and Rufus, they're strangers, but they become friends via this app that's set up called Last Friend. Basically they share this last day of adventure together, try and get in as many different things as possible. And it was a bit of a weird twist at the end. Didn't really get things. I don't want to give spoilers away, but there were things I didn't really get, and I was like, and you never, as I say, you never really got to find out what Death Cast was. It was just a bit weird. I mean, it was well wrote, but I don't know, I wasn't feeling it myself. So I only gave it 2 out of 5. Next up, I read Alex Bell, The Haunting. I love Alex Bell. She wrote Frozen Charlotte and Charlotte Says about the spooky dolls. Absolutely love her books. So I got The Haunting as well to read from her. So it's a very spooky book. Actually, it'd be really good for Halloween. I like this book a lot. So basically, Emma is the main character, and I really liked Emma. She was a lovely character, and it's kind of based in this Cornish town in a haunted inn. There's witchcraft, and there's a cursed ship, and history, and spooky stuff. I love all that. So basically, she returns to the area where she had this really bad accident years and years ago. She had this accident when she was younger, which resulted in her having to go into a wheelchair. And she's kind of gone back to the same area to revisit the place. And spooky, scary things happen. I don't want to give too much away, but I really liked it. It was creepy, it was eerie, and yeah, it was really cool. Very good. I liked it, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. And the next book I read was American Assassin by Vince Flynn. So Mitch Rapp, apparently it's a big series, which I didn't know. I just knew of this book because of the film, which I haven't seen yet, but I do want to definitely see. I'll probably wait till it comes on the television kind of thing. But yeah, it's about a guy and his young guy who becomes an American assassin for the CIA, and he wants revenge, and he's going to do all he can, you know, whatever he can to get his revenge. So in this book, there's a lot of violence. It's quite dramatic and kind of action thriller. There's terrorists and twists and turns and death, and it's, you know, it's okay. It was good, but I found myself getting a bit like it was dragging a bit. Like I really was excited at the beginning, and then the further I got into it, I kind of not bored as such, but or maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'd not read a book like that before either, so I didn't know what to expect. But there were parts of it that were good. Parts of it kind of dragged a bit for me, but overall I did really enjoy it. I definitely want to see the film, and I would definitely, you know, read the other Mitch Rapp series books. I think there's a few that look quite good stories that I would definitely read. So yeah, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. And the last book I read in making sure I've got my notes in order. There we go. Yeah, the last book I read in September was Moxie. So yeah, Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. Loved it. Like, seriously, it was so fun. I think in the month of September I read quite a few kind of political and dark books, and I was like, I don't know, I wasn't really happy with my September choices, really. There, you know, I've had months where I've read book after book after book that I've loved, and then there was September, which was like, But Moxie was definitely more fun, more me, and I was actually sent Moxie, the book, by the actual author to do like a review and stuff, which I did, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So basically it's about a character called Vivian, who I loved, by the way, and she's so cool. And she basically starts this zine, anonymously she starts it, a zine called Moxie, which basically stands up for women's rights, because she's sick of going to school and having to deal with sexist rubbish, basically. And she's inspired by a mum who used to be a 90s riot girl, but Moxie kind of takes off more than she ever imagined, you know, and it kind of becomes like a girl revolution in the school, girl power. I love the relationship of the main character with her mum, thought that was lovely. I love the whole kind of girl power attitude, that was fantastic. It was fun. I love looking through the book and actually seeing the Moxie zine, like you actually get to see the zine in the book, which I thought was cool, like all the pictures and stuff, so it kind of brought it to life. And yeah, I just really loved it, and girl power and all that. So yeah, really, really love Moxie, and I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Okay, so they are the books that I read in the month of September. Obviously, you know, I've got some books from October because I've already been reading loads. So you'll see next month my October wrap up. And so far, I'll be honest with you, the books have been a lot better than September's. I've really enjoyed them a lot better. So I will very quickly show you the book I'm currently reading. I got this from a charity shop. It's a bit kind of, you know, charity shop book kind of. No, that's not true actually, because sometimes you get books from charity shops and they look like brand new. Sometimes they are brand new, but this one really does look kind of secondhand. But do you know what? Who cares? Like, as long as you can still read it, and I think it feels homely to read a book from a charity shop. I don't know. But anyway, it's The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, and it's by Holly Black. So I've never read a Holly Black book before. I've heard of her, but I've just never read any of her books. I know she's very popular. So I'll read the back to you. It says, Cold Town was dangerous, Tana knew. A glamorous cage, a prison for the damned and anyone who wanted to party with them. She lives in a world where walled cities called cold towns exist, and in them quarantined monsters and humans mingle in a bloody mix of predator and prey. There's some like drilling going on outside. I'm really sorry if you can hear that. It's an eternal party, shown on TV 24 hours a day, gorgeous, glamorous, deadly. The problem is, once you pass through Cold Town's gates, you can never leave. So I love it so far. I'm on page 73. There you go, page 73. And not bad, I only started it yesterday. And I like everything about it so far, apart from that hand. I think that hand's really creepy. I think because it looks so real. Like a real hand. Anyway, just when I'm filming my video, they have to start drilling and making loud sounds outside. Unbelievable. But anyway, so yeah, that's the book I'm currently reading. So obviously in my next video, you'll find out what I thought about it. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the video and got some ideas for books that you would like to read. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please click like. And please comment and please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to add me on social media. I do love a bit of social media. So Twitter is @MinxLaura123. And Instagram, my favourite, is MinxLaura123. And Facebook is minx.laura.5. So come and find me on social media. Also, shush, I'm filming. Sorry about the noise in the background if you can hear it. Also, please go and check out my other YouTube channel, which is MinxLaura123 ASMR. I make like relaxation videos, ASMR videos to help people with anxiety and insomnia. And also sometimes when people watch ASMR videos, they get like a tingly sensation in their scalp. So yeah, go check out the channel, see what you think. It is a bit weird, but there we go, weird is good. Now they've stopped, look. Literally complete silence. Now I'm not actually talking and I'll finish the video. It stopped. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Please subscribe. Bye.